It's Dr. Greg Tony here, Sheriff of Broward County. Today I have to give you guys another update. The nature of politics and the abuse of authority is so grotesque right now at the federal, state, and local level, and we are dealing with another incident or issue where someone's individual political agenda is now exposing our city in Deerfield potentially to losing some of the best first responders we have in the country and potentially vacating out of a contract due to their own political agenda. What do I mean? The former district captain that I promoted and put in that district to help lead up Deerfield retired a couple years ago, and now he's the city manager. And within just the 4 months or so that he's been a city manager with no experience in that role, he has created so much conflict in negotiations by providing misinformation, false information, or incomplete information to the elected body so that they can make the appropriate decision on which way they should vote when it comes to paying our first responders or increasing their salary. And so for months now, there has been this agitation. City manager thinks I need to be in a room with him. He's been coordinating with other managers, calling other elected officials, trying to rally them against this narrative of us trying to get equal pay or fair pay, competitive pay for my men, not for myself. My salary is controlled by the state. Nothing changes. And so just recently, I had a roll call meeting after speaking with my commanders who outlined all the specific details of contract negotiations that they presented to the city manager, but yet he never disclosed those negotiating elements to the elected people who are responsible for making a decision. And so most certainly I was mad as hell about this, and I'm still agitated about it because the very same person who is retired with all the benefits and things that he's inherited by being a member of this agency is now saying our first responders in the same community in which he was serving are no longer deserving of this. And the mechanism that he's using is false information. The mechanism that he's using is let's turn it into a political battle with the sheriff. My salary doesn't change no matter what happens here. So I am an advocate for my people, and I'm not going to stop and shy away from that. And so I did a presentation with roll call explaining that we met all these different merits. We negotiated, we did the cost savings, we introduced the caps back into the contracts, and it still wasn't good enough for the city manager. Instead, he goes back into the desk and produced more false information. He states that we terminated our contract services and that there's no way out. It's not true. He said it was too late for the city to accept BSO revised consideration. Not true. A new contract cannot be pursued. Not true. We only saved $448,000. Not true. We saved almost $900,000 in the negotiation term. And so as I'm empowering my members from union personnel to deputies to fight for their future and fight for the pay that they deserve, and I would take on this corrupt city manager and his positioning head on. If I have to raise money, I'd raise the money and put forth a political campaign against a non-political entity so that I can ensure we tell the people of Deerfield the truth, because Deerfield and those residents are not receiving the truth. Now, people have seen me stand amongst the camera time and time again, and whether you like me or not, well, one thing you're not going to say is that I don't call it the way it is and I don't speak the truth. And so in a moment, I'm going to show you this roll call briefing I had with my people inside of our training center and exactly what I said with no filters. So prep yourself for some profanity and everything else, because the content and context of the message was about making sure I fight for my people as I'm obligated to do against politics, against corruption, against individuals' agenda, and everything else that exists in society that continues to assault this agency. And when he heard that that message had came out, he decided to use one of these old playbooks that you guys seen in this county time and time again when it comes to me being in this office. For every political entity, people running for office, other elected officials, managers, commissioners, whomever, anytime there's conflict where I'm not going to bend over backwards and accept their abuse or accept their ignorance and accept their incompetency, the recourse that they resort to is, let's go file an ethics complaint against the sheriff. Let's go get FDLE involved. Let's hope the governor come pick him up, because we can't defeat him when he's doing the right thing. We can't force him to lose the election because he's outperformed every sheriff that's been in this office. And so this city manager filed a false police report with FDLE alleging that I have threatened his life and he's fearful that I'm make harm him and his family. A former law enforcement officer, only retired a year ago. I would imagine he understands what probable cause is and the elements of a crime, but that didn't happen. So now all you media outlets, welcome back, are looking for a story to cover, something to put out. Well, here's your story. The Broward Sheriff's Office has not conducted a salary study in the history of this agency, and the compounding effect of over 30 years of not doing so has resulted in this agency have the lowest paying salaries in any comparable size agency. And we are not even paying more than some of our smaller municipal cities right here in Broward County. And so what is the byproduct of that? Hundreds of officers leaving this agency. Hundreds of firefighters leaving this agency. Hundreds of dispatchers members have left this agency, and now we got them back after only I fought a battle budget with the county commission. So for anyone who's wondering what's going on, this is politics once again. And for Mr. Brimlow and anyone else who finds it suitable to start producing false criminal reports, let me remind you, Florida state statute exists that prohibits that and makes it an arrestable offense. So for sake of transparency and accountability, I'm going to pause and I'm going to play this video of our roll call briefing and let you hear exactly what I said, unfiltered, unapologetic, and unashamed of anything I've said. And I'll say it right here again in this camera, verbatim. But for sake of clarifying this nonsense that the sheriff made a threat to kill somebody or harm him and he can't walk amongst these streets and all this other absurd nonsense, let's take a peek. I want to give you guys an update on the status of how the negotiations been occurring when it comes to law enforcement and fire rescue across all our different partnerships that we have from one municipal to the next, including the county. Thus far, we've had a tremendous amount of success in that we have cities that are signing on to the necessary salary studies adjustments that we've articulated and have clearly shown them over the last several months. I'm excited to hear that, but we are running into somewhat of a hiccup, and I'm educating you up on what that process is and where these hiccups are occurring. I think it's important, one, the colonels, majors, staff, fire component chiefs, unions, they're all here. They've had some communication with you thus far. But the problem we're encountering right now is really very disappointing. This is an issue that is driven and exclusively problematic from one of our own, okay? All of you know that Captain Brimlow served under my command for a period of time. During that time in his tenure, he was always in agreement that the agency should have salary increases for personnel, and that we needed to do everything possible to expand and be competitive in this market. And then overnight that changed when he became the city manager. Our team has put forth a most comprehensive and fair negotiating component to get this contract executed without creating an unnecessary burden on the entire city and creating a financial crisis for them. We've gotten to a point where we presented a proposal that had about $900,000 in savings for the group, clearly meeting the mandates or expectation that was kind of delivered on his accord, that we need to be able to do some save reduction and stay within the 5% caps. We did all that. We put our best and final offer forward, only for it to be thrown in our face. Only to be thrown in our face. Now, where does that leave us? We're still at this table. I think there's enough political individuals up there, from the mayor, vice mayor, maybe a commissioner or two, who wants to be able to get through this channel, understands the imperative nature. I've had a hour-long conversation with the mayor. I spoke to the vice mayor, Preston, coming with a firefighter background, who verbalized and stated he wished that I was a sheriff when he was a firefighter and fought on his behalf because he agreed that the payments need to be made. And he had a legitimate concern to make sure that the implementation strategy that would take place would not create a burden on the community. That's his job. He's responsible for that. Now, so how are we still here? Whereas Deerfield is basically the last one at the table, still throwing punches. And I'm going to tell you what I think it is. Okay? I am done playing politics in any accord. And you guys know I don't play it as it is. But I'm not going to have an individual stand in the way of your ability to receive a raise so that you can have a fair and competitive salary, so that we can retain you, and so that you can take care of your family members and buy cars and make car payments and child care and mortgages and everything else that we deal with as people. To have the obstructionist was an individual who retired here, and I gave him an outstanding retirement packet and benefits. And then now those benefits that he's received from this agency, he's now saying none of you deserve. He's saying none of you deserve it. There's no fucking tap dancing around it. That's what he's telling you guys. For the Deerfield District Command, you should be absolutely livid. Any of you that has some loyalty to him, you better dismiss it now, because there's no loyalty left that he has for anyone in this district. And this also applies to my firefighters, who for your careers and your time in Deerfield had every officer back. If they took a bullet, you were going to run in there to help them. Every time an officer got hurt, fire rescue was there to support him. And all of a sudden, fire rescue's not deserving. Law enforcement, the very men and women I've entitled you to lead and protect and fight for and support and make sure that they get proper equipment and adequate resources to do their job successful, now they're not worthy? You tell me if that's not right. You tell me if I should go absolutely nuclear on this and destroy him. Because I have the power of this office to do a lot of damage to individuals, but I have safeguarded and protected my personal temperament. Even when I was on the chopping axe and people attacked me, I kept my professional decorum and I led this agency the right way with dignity and pride. But now he's attacking you. My salary don't change. It's controlled by the state. But he's attacking everyone in this room, and he's throwing his middle finger up to everyone in this room. So you're going to have to be vocal. You're going to have to get involved. Your union presidents are here, and this is why. All this supporting and endorsing individuals comes to a halt. Even the ones who support us, until they vote the right way, we're done. I don't give endorsements specifically for this reason. I've been called over 2 elections for endorsements. I say absolutely not. Because the moment I go to bed with these people and they get what they want, they're going to turn their back on you. And this is proof of concept right here today, right now. So I don't play politics. If I'm going to fight for you, as I have, whether it be the state attorney, the governor, whomever, I'm fighting for you. Now you're going to saddle up and you're going to fight for yourself. Union presidents, get on their ass. Put the pressure on them. Because they're being misguided by an individual who have for several years working under my command said, everybody deserves a raise. You're right, Sheriff, go get them. Now, this is my plan and approach. No dismissal to my partners here and our union presidents, but this was my plan. I instituted this salary study. I didn't ask what you guys needed. I wanted to see factual data points about what is happening and why are we losing so many talented damn individuals in this agency. And the numbers are clear. This is 30 years of compounding effect that has put us in a position where we're not getting paid what we deserve and we're putting our lives on the line. And we have a 92% satisfactory rate countywide, which includes Deerfield Beach. And that's being thrown in your face as if you didn't do the work. As if you didn't do the work. This is not a community issue. Do not let this negotiating stuff and articles that you're reading make you think that the community in Deerfield don't respect you and that they don't appreciate you and that they don't admire and they agree that you should be paid. They agree that you should be paid. This is coming down to one stopgap measure, one individual who has his own agenda to create his own police department and to create his own fire rescue and dismiss the decades of service, of outstanding service that you provided in the blood and tears that you left on those damn streets. As if he didn't know what this agency was about. So I know where my war path is. I'm not going to stop. If I got to raise $1 million against him as a non-elected official to share this message, the check will be written, but you will get paid what you deserve. It's embarrassing that all these cities have sat and understood, and they all had their own grievances. Every single one was concerned about this because they we're looking at the financial implications from Weston to Parkland to Oakland Park. Every single one had a legitimate concern and question. And when we answered those questions, they were signing on the dotted line and said, Sheriff, let's move forward. Let's keep the best public safety personnel in our county. Let's not give them the Palm Beach. Let's not be the training ground for the rest of the state of Florida. And now we have the one outlier that came from within this house that put time in, who understood the hardships, who saw all the disadvantages that you guys have been facing in terms of financial, salaries and tools and equipment. And we finally got all that stuff right in this agency. And we're damn near about to cross the finish line to get this done and move forward and make sure that we never fall 30 years behind on salary studies and that we consistently do a salary study every few years to make sure we never drop down in that competitive marketplace. So you needed to hear that from me and you needed to hear it unfiltered. Unfiltered. And I don't give a damn who's friends with him and want to take it back to him. Let him know I'm coming. I'm absolutely coming. I'm absolutely coming. And you guys stand your ground and continue to serve this community because I'm again reiterate this. This says the people love you. They love you guys. Every time I'm in Deerfield, every email I get, every message, they absolutely love and appreciate the work that you're doing. This is one individual in their own personal agenda who I am going to run over for you. Absolutely run over. So you guys stay motivated, you stay charged up. Your raise is coming, it's due, and you've earned every bit of it. And the politics is going to come to an end. All right, folks. So now you had an opportunity to actually hear firsthand what occurred inside of our roll call. I purposely record everything, and thank God I did, because you got a chance to hear it unfiltered. But going back to the issue of importance, city officials should be thoroughly informed by the folks that are employed by them, so that those elected officials can make an informed decision on what works best for the people of Deerfield. This agency has been serving Deerfield for almost 35 years and have not had any issues when it comes to negotiating. 7 of those years I've been sitting here now, and we've never had an issue. The new contributing factor that's allowing this to happen is the new 4 months tenured city manager who has their own agenda. So I'm encouraging these city officials to get back at the table, do their job, fulfill their obligations to this community, hear all the facts, and make an informed decision.